I got a fish story and a closing speech. Is that good? I mean, we're all done? Yeah. So I'm even kind of on time, which is all pretty good too. So Arno and I, we were fishing the last day of vacation, and we were going to the beach. This is Newcomb Hollow, and it was low tide, and usually it's not dead low tide, and it was just before dawn. And all we had for bait was a box of smelly old squid. You know what squid is? Some of you folks might call it calamari. They might eat it as a delicacy. I call it bait. So I was taking your calamari out, and we were going to go fishing with it. And so I call my buddy Short Cast because he casts short, and I can cast it deep. So I just hauled off and I just flung it out there. And it was inside the sandbar, and we're watching the sun come up, and it's a beautiful day. There's no action. This guy comes out on the point. He takes a long cast, a few cranks, boom, hooks up on a fish. I say, hey, he's got one. And he brings in a nice blue fish. And we're watching him, and he releases the fish, lets it go, he casts out again, and boom, he hooks another fish. Now, I told you that Arno and I are brilliant fishermen, right? So we figured, let's go where he is. We're not catching anything. So he reels into his line, and as soon as I picked up my rod and moved that calamari about this far, a fish just went bang, and the line just is going zzz, and I'm holding out, and I see that tail just flip over the bar, and I'm wrestling with this fish, and I finally get it in near the beach, and it was a pretty good fish. But this isn't the same fish, This fish. But I did catch that one too. But this fish was 41 inches. Fisherman's 41 inches, 41 inches. And it was the last day of vacation, and who wants to clean a big old fish on the last day of vacation? So we unhooked it, we let it go. The guy from the point came down and said, wow, that's a nice fish. And we looked at each other and said, that was a good way to end vacation, right? Let's go. So I'm dragging Arno up the sand dune, a big sand dune, and he's got that half a foot in one eye, and I'm barefooted, and the calamari now has completely defrosted, so it's kind of dripping, and I only have one fishing rod and one hook, and I'm dragging Arno, and this guy drives up. He's got a brand new Ford Explorer. He's got 37 fly rods on top of his truck. He comes out, he's got brand new Orvis waders. He has the hat with all the flies in it. He pulls out his brand new binoculars, and he steps out of his truck and he starts scanning up and down the beach, looking for signs of fish activity. And he sees me and Arno dripping squid bait and using a bait fisherman. Oh my God. And he looks at me and he says, and he's kind of disgusted. He goes, anything going on? And I was like, yeah, the guy on the point, he got 2 blue fish. I just got 41-inch striped bass right here. The fishing is good. You want to fish here? He goes, yeah, right. And as we walk across the parking lot, Arnold says to me, he didn't believe you. You want me to go talk to him? I said, Arno, I told him the truth. What he does with it is up to him. And the guy with the 37 fly rods, all the right equipment, all the latest gear, what did he do? He got in his truck, started the engine, and drove away. The point of that story is, if you want to fish, catch some fish, you ought to listen to the people who have been fishing. And if you want to help people in recovery, we ought to listen to the people who have walked that path. Agreed? Amen. One last piece. I'm going to have to get a glass of water for this one. I was about 15 years into recovery when I came to a realization, and I told you about this, that although I wasn't proud of my actions when I was addicted, I was no longer ashamed, and I am no longer ashamed. I understand it now. That took a lot of healing. I'm talking like 15, 16 years of healing. And this is a speech I gave in our recovery walks in 2004. Remember, I talked a lot about my buddy Shortcast. He's in one of these pictures. He's playing the saxophone. At every walk, he plays the Lord's Prayer at the walk, and you'll see him. And also, you'll see someone cutting a ribbon, and that's my son at the very first walk 11 years ago. He was 5 years old, I guess. Or, yeah, he's 16 now. Ready? As I stand before you, so I gave this speech at Recovery Walks in 2004, and I've had a chance to give it before. It was one of those that just flowed out of me. I wrote it in just a few seconds. As I stand before you, I cannot help but reflect on where I've come from. There once was a time when I believed a drink or a drug was the answer to all my troubles. There once was a time when I blamed everyone else for the misery of my own making. There once was a time when my battle cry against the disease of addiction was, "I'll quit tomorrow." There once was a time when I was ashamed to face my families and friends, ashamed of what had become of my life, ashamed of my disease, ashamed of my behavior, ashamed of how I treated the people who loved me. There once was a time almost 23 years ago that while drowning in a sea of sickness and shame, that I reached desperately for a flimsy reed that turned out to be the loving and powerful hand of God. So today, I am not ashamed. Today, I am not ashamed of who I am. Today, I am not ashamed to stand before my family and say, "I love you." Today, I am not ashamed of my recovery or of my health condition. Today, I am not ashamed of my behavior. Today, I am not ashamed of the recovery community that saved me. Today, I am not ashamed to stand before you and declare my recovery. Today, I am not ashamed to share the message of hope that recovery brings. Today, I am not ashamed of my God who delivered me. I am not ashamed. I am not ashamed. I am not ashamed. Thank you, and God bless you.